Hi guys, so sorry about the lack of videos. I am ill at the moment, some sort of chest infection or something, but just watched a video by Chase on FTMTranstastic about marriage and trans marriage, and it just reminded me of a couple of things that are here in the UK that I just want to rant about a little bit because they really did piss me off when I heard about them. Okay, so in Chase's video, he mentioned the fact that if you want to get your gender marker changed in Canada or Quebec, he said that you have to not be married at the time. So I assume that if you're married, you have to get divorced or something, which used to be the case here. If you're not aware, the UK legalized same-sex marriage a couple of months ago, put it all finalised, and so it's absolutely fine to go ahead in the next year or so, which made it legal for two men or two women to be married if their gender markers were the same. But they kind of screwed up a little bit in a couple of ways, which really pissed me off at the time, and I haven't really talked much about. Okay, so what is the issue? Firstly, it is true that you don't have to get divorced in the UK if you want to change the gender marker and get a gender recognition certificate anymore. But you do either have to get divorced or get written permission from your spouse. The argument that the government put forward was that you have to do that because it changes the situation that the marriage is in. It goes from a straight marriage to a gay marriage, or vice versa. And obviously you can't have that, so you have to get written permission or divorce. That seems more or less fine on its own, except if you then take into account that bankruptcy is also life-changing and changes the status of a marriage to an extent, but you don't have to get written permission for one spouse to declare bankruptcy. There's lots of other things. One spouse moving to another country changes the state of the marriage, but you don't have to get divorced. Anything else doesn't have this requirement of having your spouse's written permission or getting divorced, but being trans and wanting to get a gender recognition certificate does, which I find really, really annoying. Obviously, you could say that it's not really vetoing it, which is one of the arguments the government used, that, hey, no, the spouse can't stop you doing it. It just means that don't have to be part of it if they don't want to be. First of all, they're not part of it, and second of all, it kind of is vetoing it, because divorce can take months, years. If you're prepared to quibble over the little details, you can postpone divorce for years. And if you refuse to give written permission, that means that you can't do it until you've gotten divorced, which means if you've got a really awkward spouse who doesn't want to let you change your gender marker, you're stuck for as long as it can be. Whereas, if they had it the other way, making changing your gender marker grounds for divorce, you can change the gender marker and then the other spouse can initiate divorce. Bob's your uncle. But no, that's not how they've done it, which is annoying. The second problem is one that was there beforehand, even before this same-sex marriage came through, but they didn't use the opportunity to fix. Basically, what it was is that if you have a gender recognition certificate, by law in the UK, you are your acquired gender. You're not, employers aren't allowed to disclose, employers aren't even allowed to know unless you choose to tell them. The police aren't allowed to know unless you're being, tried for a crime or something. And when they do know, they're not allowed to tell anyone else. Things like criminal record bureau checks are put a little arrow on it that says sensitive information, and that is protected. Very few people see it, and basically you are your gender, and there is very little trace of your designated gender at birth. They give you a new birth certificate, everything. So, yeah, let's just recap. You are 100% your real gender, and nobody's allowed to question that at all. But if you want to get married, you have to tell your potential spouse. if you choose not to tell your spouse, or you have no evidence of telling your spouse, they can choose to apply for annulment. Which, I can understand the argument that, hey, that's a big bit of information, you should have told them. That's fine, I don't disagree with the fact that you should have told them. Morally, I think, yeah, it's a big part of your life, you maybe should tell them. But it's the only bit that is, by law, made into something that you have to tell. If you're a rapist, you don't have to tell them, or at least if you don't tell them, it's not grounds for annulment, it's grounds for divorce, and they might be able to annul it with some other clause, but there isn't a specific clause for it. If you're a child molester, or I'm comparing all this to crimes and stuff, or monetary status, if you say, yeah, I'm a millionaire, then it turns out that you're not. Tough. These are all things that, are a lot more negative and a lot more disgusting than being trans, but they're not protected by their own clause. So yeah, marriage is great. I personally can't wait to get married. I want the big day and the family and the house in the country with 2.4 kids, picket fence, and a dog called Rover. That is something I really want for myself one day. But I don't approve of the way that marriage has been handled in this country. Yeah, sorry if this video is a little bit dry. I know that legal stuff is a bit boring a lot of the time, but I don't have the energy to make it exciting, and Chase's video I had to talk about it because it's something that has been bugging me for a long time, and yeah, I've not really talked about it much. People don't seem to get why it's a big issue for me. But yeah, so I will try and make another. I was actually halfway through making a normal video when I got sick, and then just didn't have the energy to do any more. But I had to make this. But yeah, I will see you guys soon. Bye.